Imagine spending 6 hours every single day just chewing food. That's what chimpanzees do. 6 hours of chewing. Every day? Their entire lives. But you? You chew for about 35 minutes. And that tiny difference, that gap between 6 hours and 35 minutes, is the story of how cooking made us human. 2 million years ago, our ancestors were basically apes. Small brains, big jaws, massive chewing muscles. They spent almost half their waking lives just processing food, gnashing tough roots, tearing raw meat, cracking nuts. It wasn't a choice. Raw food is hard. It's fibrous. It's low in calories. And it takes enormous effort just to break it down enough for your body to use. Our closest living relatives, chimpanzees, still live this way. They chew for 4.5 to 6 hours every single day. They spend nearly 48% of their day just eating. Humans? For 0.7%. Something changed. Something that shrunk our jaws, doubled our brain size, and gave us the free time to build civilizations. That something was cooking. So how did it start? How did humans discover cooking? Here's the honest answer. We don't know exactly. There was no single moment. No genius ancestor who suddenly thought, hey, what if I put this meat on fire? Most researchers believe it was accidental. Lightning struck. A wildfire swept through the savannah. Animals were caught, killed by the flames. And after the fire passed, our ancestors, who were scavengers, walked through the ashes and found something unexpected. Warm meat. Singed, tender, easier to chew. Different from anything they'd eaten before. This probably happened thousands of times over hundreds of thousands of years. A fire. A dead animal. A curious hominin willing to try something new. And each time someone tasted that cooked food, something clicked. It was softer. It was easier to eat. It tasted different, better. And, though they couldn't have known this, it gave them more energy than the raw version. But this wasn't just about a better meal. This accidental discovery would eventually reshape the entire human body. Our brains, our jaws, our guts, even our social lives. But first, we need to understand why cooking is so powerful in the first place. Here's what cooking actually does to food. First, heat physically breaks down food molecules. Tough fibers soften. Proteins unfold. Starches gelatinize. All of this makes food easier to chew and easier to digest, meaning your body spends less energy processing what you eat. Second, cooking increases the net calories you get from food. When you eat raw meat, your body has to work hard to break it down. You burn calories just digesting. Cooked meat? Your body barely has to try. You get more calories out and spend fewer calories breaking them down. This has been tested. Mice fed cooked beef or cooked sweet potatoes grew significantly larger than mice fed the same amount of raw food. Burmese pythons fed cooked meat expended less energy on digestion than those fed raw slabs. Even snakes benefit from cooking. Third, cooking kills pathogens. Raw meat is risky. It carries bacteria, parasites, toxins. Cooking neutralizes all of that. Over the long term, humans on cooked diets can invest less in their immune systems. Fourth, cooking unlocks foods that are basically inedible raw. Many tubers, roots, and tough plants are impossible to eat without cooking. Heat transforms them into real food sources. Now here's the critical part, the human brain. Your brain weighs about 2% of your body but consumes roughly 25% of your total energy. It's an absolute energy hog. And in a world of raw food, where every calorie costs enormous effort to obtain and process, a big brain is a liability. But wait, couldn't early humans just eat more raw meat? Some scientists actually argued that for decades. The meat-eating hypothesis said that hunting and eating more animal protein gave our ancestors enough calories for bigger brains. And it's partly true. Meat is more calorie-dense than plants. But here's the problem. Homo erectus had smaller jaws and teeth than its meat-eating predecessor Homo habilis. If they were eating even more raw meat, which requires serious chewing, why would their jaws get smaller? The only explanation that accounts for both bigger brains and smaller jaws simultaneously is that the food got softer. And the only thing that makes food that much softer is cooking. Between 1.8 and 2 million years ago, something dramatic happened in the fossil record. Our ancestors transformed. Australopithecines, like the famous Lucy, were about 3 to 4 feet tall with chimpanzee-sized brains around 450 cubic centimeters. Then, Homo erectus appeared. They were as tall as modern humans. Their skulls nearly doubled in volume to about 900 cubic centimeters. Their jaws shrank. Their teeth got smaller. Their chewing muscles reduced. And their digestive organs, based on ribcage reconstruction, appeared to have shrunk too. All of these changes point to one thing. They were eating softer, higher quality food. Food that required less chewing and less digestion. Food that delivered more calories per bite. That food was cooked. But cooking didn't just change our bodies. It changed our entire way of life. Harvard anthropologist Richard Wrangham argues that cooking created the concept of home. Before cooking, food was something you found, ate on the spot, and moved on. But a cooked meal takes time. You need fire. You need to gather ingredients. You need to wait. And that waiting, that gathering around a fire, created the hearth. The hearth became the center of human social life. People gathered around it. They ate together. They talked. They shared. And Wrangham argues this even drove the development of pair bonding, the male-female partnership system where one partner hunts while the other cooks, and both share the meal. Cooking also gave us time. When you're not spending 6 hours a day chewing, you have hours of free time. Time to make tools. Time to develop language. Time to teach children. Time to plan. Time to think. And here's something most people never consider. Humans literally cannot survive on raw food alone in natural conditions. In 2005, a study surveyed 572 German raw foodists, people who voluntarily eat only raw food. The results were striking. About 30% of women under 45 on raw diets experience partial or complete amenorrhea, loss of their menstrual cycles. Among those eating entirely raw diets, nearly half lost their fertility. In the modern world, with shipped-in fruit, nut butters, and cold-pressed oils, raw foodists can't survive. But in natural conditions, eating only wild, local, seasonal raw food, humans cannot sustain themselves, and they certainly can't reproduce. We are the only species on Earth that is biologically dependent on cooked food. Every other animal eats raw. We can't. Cooking isn't a luxury for humans. It's a biological necessity. So when exactly did cooking begin? This is where it gets complicated, and where honesty matters. Richard Wrangham's cooking hypothesis says cooking started around 1.9 million years ago with Homo erectus. He bases this on biological evidence, the dramatic anatomical changes that appear right when Homo erectus shows up. Bigger brains, smaller jaws, smaller guts, all consistent with a cooked diet. But critics point out a major problem. Archaeological evidence for controlled fire is scarce before about 400,000 years ago. Yes, there are some older sites. The most widely accepted is Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa, where evidence of controlled fire dates to about 1 million years ago. Burned bones, ash, and heat-altered stones found deep inside the cave, far from any natural wildfire. And in June 2026, a new study published in PLOS One pushed this even further. Using a technique called bone luminescence, researchers found evidence of repeated fire use deep inside Wonderwerk Cave dating between 1.07 and 1.79 million years ago. The bones were 30 meters inside the cave. Natural fire can't reach that deep. Someone brought fire there deliberately. But here's what the researchers themselves caution. This shows fire was transported and maintained. It doesn't prove routine cooking or fire-making technology. These early humans may have collected fire from natural sources, like lightning strikes or savanna wildfires, and kept it burning, rather than creating fire themselves. The earliest confirmed evidence of actual cooking, not just fire, but deliberate food preparation with heat, comes from Gesher Benot Ya'aqov in Israel, about 780,000 years ago. Researchers found fish teeth from large carp species that had been heated to temperatures between 200 and 500 degrees Celsius. Low and slow cooking, not just charred debris thrown on a fire. This was deliberate. This was cooking. Meanwhile, other scientists offer competing explanations. A 2016 Nature paper by Catherine Zink and Daniel Lieberman showed that simply slicing meat with stone tools and pounding tubers reduced chewing effort by about 17%. They argue this food processing, not cooking, could explain the anatomical changes in early Homo. Wrangham counters that slicing and pounding doesn't provide the massive caloric boost that cooking does. Raw tubers, even pounded, are nutritionally poor. And the scale of anatomical change in Homo erectus, with jaws shrinking dramatically while brains nearly doubled, requires a bigger dietary upgrade than just cutting meat into smaller pieces. The truth? We don't know for certain. Multiple factors likely worked together: more meat, better tools, and eventually cooking. It probably wasn't one single trigger. It was a cascade. So let's bring it all together. How did humans discover cooking? It wasn't a eureka moment. It wasn't a single genius. It was likely a series of accidents over hundreds of thousands of years. Wildfires, scavenged cooked animals, curiosity, and eventually, the deliberate taming of fire. What started as an accident became the most important discovery in human history. Because cooking didn't just give us better meals. It shrunk our jaws and grew our brains. It freed up hours of time every day, time we used to invent tools, develop language, and build communities. It made the hearth the center of human life, creating homes, pair bonds, and the first real social structures. It made foods that were inedible into staples. It made dangerous foods safe. And it made us, literally, biologically, into the species we are today. We are the only animal that cooks. And we are the only animal that can't survive without it. Every meal you cook, even something as simple as boiling an egg, is a continuation of a tradition that started nearly 2 million years ago. A tradition that made us human. So, if you found this story fascinating, subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden history of everyday things. And let me know in the comments what you want next.